Today's video is a short feature of my current boot collection. My general strategy, as you might see, I have a lot of shoes and boots, but they must fit on this rack in order to stay in my collection. That's sort of the argument that I've made with my wife. I call it an argument because it took a bit of negotiating because, hey, I have a lot of shoes and boots. But let's go through the boots today, and then we're going to go through a few other things along the way. People seem to like this style of video, so we're going to give you a little bit of something you like, and I'm going to humor you. So this pair here is Benzein. Benzein makes hole cut Chelsea boots. So by hole cut, many Chelsea boots have a seam running right through here, and this doesn't. It's all one piece of leather with one back heel seam. And Benzein is known for making a really great boot in the Chelsea form. They also are doing a really good job with their engineers. This is done in a reverse natural chrome excel, kind of a rough out. Moving on, we see two boats from Midas bootmaker. One of my absolute favorite shoe and boot makers out there is Midas. I have a number of different pairs of their boots. This is their Vanquish boot, which is essentially their take on the Edward Green Galway. Featured this. This features their very actually high quality rough out leather as well. This is their, I believe their tan rough out. It's almost a yellowish tan, I guess is the best way to put it. Stands out quite a bit, works well in with denim and a few other colors. And this is their Spala boot, which is their alternative to the service boot. They have a service boot model as well. What's really cool about this is the welt. This is a chain stitch Stairschwinn welt. The Stairschwinn is this modified Veltschwinn built off of two levels, and then the Stairschwinn, the chain stitching is an ornamental chain stitch that comes across the top here. This isn't actually a reinforcement, it's more just decorative, but this is a 360-degree chain stitch Stairschwinn built on their tobacco floater leather, which is another local Indonesian leather. If you guys are looking for a high quality, lower cost boot, consider Midas in one of their local leathers, because they're a rough out's really high quality, as is this tobacco floater you can see here. Next up is one of my favorite makers, one of the most customer service friendly and efficient boot makers out there, who continues to raise their game. And this is Monroe Heritage. This is a oiled shinky horsebutt done in a contrast black and natural color way, I guess is the best way to put it, using their Veltschwinn construction method here. Just a beautiful makeup that I recently took Iwan, who's the founder of Midas. Sorry, I keep getting my brands mixed up, of Monroe, up on this beautiful makeup that he and I had been discussing because I've been interested in trying this leather. The next two, another incredible maker coming out of China this time, and this is Iron Boots. This is their Pitman, which is sort of their modified, I guess, Viberg 301 style squared off cap toe service boot, done in a beautiful waxed bull hide leather. Just a beautiful leather that I think is just really worth considering when you're thinking about different leathers. It's got a really soft handle, and it will burnish over time because that waxing will kind of melt off. Similarly, also from Iron Boots, this is their Devil Dog, which is their take on the cap toe service boot. This is done in a really lovely Toscanello horsehide leather. I believe they call this a washed. Wow. It's a washed horsehide. I'm not sure what that means, but I will say that this has a little bit more structure to it than typical. Again, that beautiful double row construction stitched down in this case, and really clean cap toe. This is a brand that I think gets as close to dressy shoes or dress shoes, but in the boot community. Speaking of incredible finishing, here we are with 2 pairs. I know it's excessive, but I have 2 pairs from Flame Panda. I'm currently waiting on a 3rd pair, but I've had a tougher time tracking down Peng recently, so hopefully he'll get back to me. But Flame Panda Moctos are considered their sort of standard bear, kind of their standard style. They obviously do a number of great styles. This is a kudu suede. I believe it's a kudu, reverse kudu from Charles F. Stead. And then this is their, I believe their, it's a Horween horse stripe leather, I believe. It's a beautiful burgundy brown. I've had that for almost 2.5 years now, so you can see how well it's kept up. Beautiful boot. This is a pair of boot shoes from XBXS Boots Factory, one of my favorite emerging shoe and boot makers. This is their derby. I actually have their minor boot, which is similar to the Viberg 310, but that's down currently getting some use outside. So it's in the garage right now. This is a very highly regarded maker out of Indonesia, probably the most well-known Indonesian maker in many ways, and that's Onderhoud Handmade. This is their LVL1 derby, kind of a take on the Viberg 310, or sort of a 5-eyelet derby model, rugged derby, in a rough out local kind of coral brown tan rough out. A famous maker that hopefully everybody is aware of is Alden Shoe Company, and this is probably their most famous makeup. This is a Alden Indie boot in their 405 colorway, which is basically the color scheme that was used by Harrison Ford in the Indiana Jones movies, from which this shoe gets made. It features a neo-cork outsole, which is kind of very unique to Alden. I haven't seen any other makers use that particular sole, but it's a hard-wearing sole that kind of lasts forever. So, beautiful shoe here. Can't forget about Indonesia, so I'm going back there with Renav Goods. Renav is a beautiful... he's a nice shoemaker. He makes beautiful shoes. Real clean welt construction and stitching. This is a Veldschuhen construction using a Shinky burgundy horsebutt. And this is actually a style that I worked with Ray from Renav Goods to develop. It's a chukka boot, sort of combining dress shoe elements and more rugged elements to sort of describe making a rugged 3-eyelet chukka. So there's that, using guarded good laces. Now we're getting into my more dressy boots. Here we go. Carmina. Carmina does a really nice job with their Chelsea boots. There's a Goodyear welted brand. They kind of specialize in shell cordovan, although they have a wide range of leathers. I kind of joke around, are what Allen Edmonds used to be, at least in the US, in terms of a higher production, high quality shoemaker. Allen Edmonds, in my opinion, has fallen in terms of quality. They still offer a solid shoe that should last a while, but Carmina's level of fit and finish and construction is higher, and they have a great amount of customizability. This was built on their Inkalast, which is kind of getting close to a blind channel waist and has more shapeliness to it, kind of a rounded toe last with a bit of a chisel. A really beautiful last, so consider the Inkalast. Here we are with a rain last Carmina chukka boot. This is their 3-eyelet chukka done using a peccary leather, which David Levin and I reached out to Carmina. He reached out on my behalf, and then we set up a kind of very mini group made to order using some of their peccary leather. This is not the same peccary that Antonio Micariello used. This is more kind of consistent with glove leather. It's a soft leather, really comfortable boot. Speaking of Antonio Micariello, that's where we're going to wrap up this party. This is his chukka boot, also a chukka boot. This one is done in collaboration with Yeosol a few years back. Beautiful boot, using a almost taupe-colored hatch grain leather. I believe that's a Horween hatch grain with some piping. Really nicely done. And then this is his Tribune 6 chukka boot built on a rubber sole. This is got a beautiful Tyrolese welt and a luxury suede upper leather. So that, my friends, is 10 minutes with my boots. Hope you're doing well.